Meeting a lot of really interesting people here, and thank you so much for sharing your conversations and experiences with me. I've learned a ton, and it's been a lot of fun. Before I get started, I'm sure everyone knows the hot topic word tariffs, right? It's a big word being tossed around a lot lately, and I have the pleasure of working with a lot of people that those are directly impacting, particularly a lot of the growers of fresh produce in Mexico. A good portion of the produce that we eat in the US comes from our neighbors just south of the border. And I live in a small town known as McAllen, Texas, which is the #1 port of entry for fresh produce in the United States. So this is kind of how I stumbled into the findings that I've been learning over the last 14 months building a really fun company with some really great people. Where should I point this? Maybe here? No worries. In the meantime, I'll tell you how I got into it. So among the businesses that I like to work on and collaborate with is a restaurant just on the border with my wife. And in my community, I'm known for building different technology products for some small businesses. And I've also dabbled in some things kind of like Lars, maybe not to that degree, but with civic media and helping use AI to aggregate sentiment for the residents and improve our community. And in the process, I built a bit of a reputation for helping others and for building fun stuff, even if it's just a quick MVP for some curious entrepreneurs at the university or at our local Center of Innovation and Commercialization. That's how all of this came to be, actually. So let me see here. Maybe one more time, please. I get some assistance, sir. But here, there you go. Oh, thank you.
It's actually that one.
The top one right there? Cool. Yes, exactly. Okay, so this young man right here, Jorge Ayala, was brought to my restaurant, and he has a ton of really interesting experience working as the head accountant of exporting co-ops in central Mexico, exporting tomatoes, and then was later selected to become the CFO of a fresh produce importing company in McAllen. And someone from the CIC brought him over, he started talking. I was really interested in this problem because I was able to help entrepreneurs like Daniel Mendoza from Catara Farms. The picture is actually taken in Salamanca in Guanajuato, which is an agricultural town that produces a lot of tomatoes. And I got the pleasure of meeting him and many others and touring all of their facilities and kind of diving headfirst into how a lot of the food that I've picked out of H-E-B and Kroger and other places is grown. And in the process, I've learned a lot of really interesting things about the business problems that they have, and I've had the opportunity to try to help solve some of those. The most interesting one we solved was long and unstable cash flow conversion cycles, and as all of you are aware, cash flow is really important when you're operating a business, and so we really did a good job solving that. But something that I found that was even more interesting that I'd like to share is the problem with communication between all of the stakeholders in these cross-border transactions. By a show of hands, have any of you ever maybe imported or exported something from one country to another? Okay, a handful here. So you've worked with customs brokers in different countries, and maybe the experience was different at different scales of businesses. But in the case of a lot of these small, medium-sized entrepreneurs that I work with, it's really difficult. And there's a lot of error at the ports because of improper documentation and really simple things from a technologist perspective that can be optimized and solved for. So one of the exciting things that we've been working on building is a communications platform called like the Slack of cross-border trade. And we've been helping enable the various different parties from the importer, the US trucking company, customs brokers, and the agencies on both sides, and the customs brokers on both sides, all the way down to the supplier. And we found that it's had a really big impact on their efficiencies and how they're able to conduct their business, thus improving ideally the stability of those businesses that work really hard to grow and produce all the food that we eat. So yeah, we built SupplyPay, and we had the goal of improving the perishable supply chain visibility, reducing disruptions, and automating routine tasks while helping to provide liquidity to a lot of these small, medium-sized business owners on both sides of the border. And that's really what I wanted to share with you, is that there are a lot of different business owners that work really hard to provide the food that we eat. And there's a lot of room for improvement in those systems and processes that they're undergoing. And if you're interested more in talking the nuances or maybe some anecdotal stories that I have regarding my journeys and adventures throughout central Mexico, places like Sinaloa and Guanajuato, I'd be more than happy to share them with you. And I'd also, I saw a lot of you raise your hands, I'd also be really interested in learning from you on your experiences working in the cross-border supply chain, because it's a really exciting space, and where I live, it's a really important part of our economy in South Texas. And that's it. Thank you so much, y'all.